just turn it something.
And we are live. Oh, yeah.
All right. Turning it so we don't, so people don't think we actually have a sponsorship. Right?
Get those logos out of here. Yeah. Yeah, I like it, though. They put the seam in the cup so you can't exactly turn the logo around, or it'll dribble through that seam.
Yeah, but not if you're drinking this one. It's fine. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're taking a simultaneous drink, and that's not professional. So how's it going?
Fine, but who has watched this for more than a few episodes assumes any level of professionalism here.
That's true.
Except for like the bumpers, because like the bumpers and all the audio stuff look awesome, right? So thank you, Jeremy.
Oh, sure.
Anyway, apart from that, I'm fine. Yeah. It was last week. I don't remember.
Yeah,
Why wasn't I here last week?
Oh,
the rain.
Yeah,
the rain,
we had a
right?
typhoon. Yeah, we're getting another one too, so that's good. Yeah, so I wasn't able to get in to the city, and the school shut early and everything for the heavy rain. Lots of flooding.
No, actually, my kid had to get taken home early as well, around like 12:30. So shortly, like I didn't have to go pick her up, but it was like, okay, got a message saying, daycare is worried that if the river rises anymore, they're just going to close. So yeah,
and there was some not around here, but there was some significant flooding.
Yeah, not around here at all. Yeah,
because a lot of rain got pushed.
We're up on the 10th floor now, so we don't have to worry about flooding at all. Earthquakes are another matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love high-rise earthquakes because you just feel like, whoa, very the building is moving. It's definitely moving.
Like when I first showed up, like a year or two after I first showed up, I'd experienced like a couple earthquakes, and I'm like, they're nothing. And then like one time being in the office on like the 16th floor, and one kind of hit, and I'm like, oh, all right, I'm gonna die, right? Like I'm not. All right, I've accepted this, right?
Well, if the building bends all the way over, you can jump out the window. But yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Anyway, good to be back. I'm
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thanks, Matt, for handling that. I last minute said, "Hey, Matt, are you available?" So he popped up in a window, and we did a little.
Oh, I have
Discord.
an understudy.
Yes, an understudy. Yes, exactly.
Nice.
So, that was great. And so, we had a good comment from last week too.
I'm ready.
We'll bring up. We can do it. I'll bring it up on the cast. Sure. Yeah. So it goes out on the audio as well.
Cool.
So what else? What's the stuff that's going on? Yes, Miguel's not in the chat, but that was an interesting. Did you see the BattleTech?
I saw something about it.
Yeah, there was a fiction collection.
Okay. Oh yeah.
That was posted, and the subreddit said, we reject this. I think they took it down. They took down links to it or something because of queer content. Okay. So it was a Pride Month.
Right.
The reason that that had it included queer fiction is because it was Pride Month, and their justification was something odd in the rules for that subreddit, where it said we're going to stick with this timeline, and it's like 1986 or something. So there's no Pride. There was no Pride, but they had their history a little bit wrong. But I guess the official Pride Month is 90s, but ever since Stonewall, there's been, ever since the 60s, there's been, pride parades and everything.
Okay, gay people may have existed. They were not as loud as they were.
Right, yeah, right.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yes. I'm sure they were piloting giant mechs as well. So,
sure.
But, so what happened then is, so the subreddit did that, and people got upset and contacted Catalyst, and Catalyst Labs pulled out their support of that subreddit. So now the r/BattleTech is an non-official subreddit, and Catalyst, they started official BattleTech, r/official BattleTech. So that's and they made a good point. But I think the subreddit did change their rules and stuff. They were going to rely on that, sticking to that historical thing. Well, this doesn't exist in this universe, so how can there be?
Fictional fucking universe, bro.
Yeah, right.
This doesn't make in the official time than the historical my ass. It's fake, right?
Yes.
Anyway, it wasn't a subreddit. That's interesting. Only because we were talking about the connection here is rules. Mm-hmm. Only because we were talking about more time, right?
Oh yeah.
I hate Facebook.
Uh-oh.
But apparently people were saying the More Time Facebook group is really decent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went up. I'm still waiting for my membership to be approved. But when I was reading like the rules, like point number 3 is like no round or square base discussion, because and I started laughing my ass off because like I was almost going to come there to ask that question, so I'm glad I read it.
Yeah,
but apparently it sets off such a firestorm.
Right.
They're just like, no,
all
questions, all topics about square versus round bases banned. Right.
Yeah.
I'm also a little bit worried because it said like no politics. which can occasionally mean, let's be like the blanket, like
Yeah.
no LGBT stuff because your identities are inherently political, right? Like sometimes it means let's just keep it on topic.
Yeah.
Other times it's just an excuse to like ban queer content. So hopefully it's not the latter. Which I don't remember. Anyway, yeah. So
Yeah. So and we'll be talking a little bit about that.
Ooh, okay.
The UK is having another little problem there with that. Yeah, we'll talk about that during the cast.
Interesting. All right, I'm ready. Bring it on.
Brutal. So yeah, hope everyone is doing good, and thanks for hanging in. So yeah, we're an hour late this week.
My fault.
No, that worked out. I'm glad it worked out. Yeah, because missing 2 weeks would suck. So thank you so much, because I'm sure it can't be easy to do classes and then just bolt over here and get back in front of a camera.
Yeah. Did I mention we're switching to OBS over there as well? So.
Nice. Well, if you don't need any of these graphics, you can. You should hide these in a scene, and then you can just, you don't have to walk. Then you can just flip over.
Flip over. Like, hey, yeah.
Just green screen you right in.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, but let's get started for this week, and we'll start with the.
I forget how to introduce myself.
The comment. We got to go watch an old stream, and we'll get familiar.
So watch myself. No.
Yeah, this is episode 194. We're getting up to 200. Yeah, this summer we're gonna
do something for 200.
Yeah, we're gonna hit 200. That's crazy. All right. Welcome to the Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this week on the Weekly, John Blanche retires from Games Workshop. Gloomhaven gets a new edition. So I don't think I need 100 pounds of Gloomhaven, but we'll see. No. Lorcana lawsuit, Disney.
Okay.
Lorcana. And US Game Expo apologizes.
Oh, the US?
I'm sorry, UK.
Yeah, UK Game Expo.
Did I say US? Yeah, UK.
Okay.
UK Game Expo, yeah. So they have... We talked about their problems in the past, and they're continuing to have problems, similar to what we were talking about before the cast with BattleTech. So anyhow, I wanted to start with, update on Brinkwatch 2023, day 139, and there are still 3 black halflings waiting for Kyle to come across on his promise to eliminate himself from the hobby. Yeah, I guess maybe he didn't mean the management. He wasn't clear, but
I think
so he's probably not playing. He's just managing.
Oh, all right. Yep. Okay. All right. Yep.
As long as he's not playing, I guess we're going to have to accept that as a victory.
What were his words exactly? The hobby needs less of...
Yeah, like me, less cis white men. Right, the sooner the better, I think was.
Leave the hobby.
Yes, leave the hobby. The sooner the better.
Okay, well, there's his loophole, right? He didn't say leave management position,
yeah,
right?
Yes, right.
He's not a hobbyist.
Leave my 6-figure salary. Hell no. Right, yeah, and bonuses? No, I'm not leaving my bonuses. Yeah. So, Kyle, we're still waiting. All right, those tricky corporate guys. Anyhow, there was a comment that I wanted to mention from last week. Ooh, so nice. Matt and I were talking about the Dragonbane is getting 7 additional languages, or 7 total languages, I think, of translation.
Is one of them Japanese? I don't
know. No, not yet. No, it's mostly European. Yeah, I think all European. But I think it's kind of supporting what they did before, because there's never been an English translation, but they have supported all the Scandinavian languages and other European languages. And Tasnu Arakun left us a comment on the stream and on YouTube, and it was very interesting what he had to say. The 87 edition of Drakar og Demoner was released in Norwegian and Danish, and in 1988 as Dragar og Demoner and Dragar og Demoner. So very similar. So Norwegian and Danish, there's a lot of similarities between the languages. So we were wondering if they were going to try to stick with this Dragonbane and rename it that way to, kind of clarify that it was a new version, that it wasn't going to be using the old system.
The one that was released in the
80s. So it seems like because they already have that identity and that presence, they probably will stick with that original name.
Yeah, okay.
So the commenter said, I'd expect the new edition to use the same names. Neither the old translations were particularly successful, though, and seem to be a few who still have fond memories of the game. So I managed to find an episode of a Danish podcast talking about the game, and they commented on the weird terminology in the books. So since Drakar og Demoner, or the Swedish version, was the first Swedish TTRPG and dominated the Swedish scene for 2 decades, it was able to invent a lot of its own terminology.
Wow, okay.
So instead of adapting Anglicisms from Dungeons and Dragons, they came up with things like role person instead of a character instead of character. So the terminology they used was kind of completely original. So nowadays I see younger Swedes who started to play D&D 5th edition in English and then switched to Swedish games. They have the same reaction, that there's a lot of odd terminology in there. And so I wonder which terminology Norwegian and Danish will use in the translation.
Well, I said nice, but that wasn't what I meant. And it's an interesting linguistical point. Whereas, my perspective, like D&D has dominated. Ask me how I feel about it. D&D has dominated the hobby for a long time, and the language or nomenclature it kind of introduced has permeated into other games, where in the Swedish language it seems like that's the opposite, right? This is the game, right? Like, not Dragonbane, but the other one that has dominated for like 20 years, and so people adopted its nomenclature for the things, and now that they're being introduced to other games, they're like, this seems weird. Why don't we just use this other one? Interesting. Yeah.
So and I noticed just going through some of the Swedish version of this recent of the recent update that Free League is doing, looking at the Swedish names, the race names and everything are very different. Yeah, they feel very. I
don't use those.
Yeah, very different. So it'll be interesting to see, and so I'll keep up and see if there's.
Well, I wonder if they if whatever Swedish names they've chosen in Swedish are as generic as like elf.
Could be, it could be, and just to have their own identity too. I think because that was probably the big reason to even make the game, is we want to separate ourselves from this, this Western tradition. Because of course Dungeons and Dragons will be there, but yeah.
Rats.
But they'll make their own way. Yeah, and from talking to some Swedish gamers and things, they've said, it's still very dominant. 5e is, just like everywhere else, 5e is pretty dominant in the market. But let's start with a little bit of a sad note.
I thought that was the only thing that's
yes, well, it's Games Workshop related, so right. So the legendary 40K artist John Blanche is retiring, and so this has been that's a 46-year career of working with Games Workshop. So that's very impressive, and it's surprising that he survived all the generations. I mean, I guess he's so iconic and was so instrumental in developing the identity and the look of the game that, of course, he would stay on, but the game has, changed a lot since early editions. And I've also read, so it wasn't in this article, but I've also read some people suggesting it's for health reasons. So his work may not continue. So after retirement, he may not do so much. So just depending on.
Well, hopefully he's got some kind of health plan or whatever, because it's only been like a couple people, and I don't have exact exact instances, but I've seen people saying or selling their originals, right? Like they were these famous artists, and they're like, I'm retired, I've got health problems now. I didn't have any kind of insurance, so I need money, so I'm selling these originals, right?
But we don't know. I mean, when Wizards took over D&D, they did that. They gave all the originals back to the artists. Okay. But we don't know if Games Workshop did that.
Oh, well,
Games Workshop may have a big room with all these gorgeous, Blanche paintings that they're just like, this is ours. We're going to leverage this. This is an asset of Games Workshop. So, I'm curious if he does have his originals or not. But that's true that some artists do have to lean on that and just kind of, reverse mortgage their career. But, so as of as of May 31st, he stopped, and so that was since 1977 that he'd been working. Yeah, so a little bit about his career. So he started working for Games Workshop before Warhammer. So his first job was producing cover art for issues. He did 4 issues of White Dwarf when White Dwarf magazine was just pushing D&D, games, and just mostly pushing D&D and was co-published by TSR back in the 70s. And so he's responsible for the box art for the first 3 editions of 40K. So very iconic, very identifiable work, and basically created the look and feel of that entire grimdark world. And it's changed since then, but you still feel, you still see his creation and his kind of that heavy Baroque style, and a lot of the dark, the lighting and kind of the
ridiculously
darkness.
Sanitized though.
Yeah, right. It's getting very
since we're on tangents, I said before, the new 10th edition rules. You can get the PDF of the core rules for free, and I said I'm never going to play. Why not just read it anyway? Because I hate myself, right? So I was reading through it, and I'm like, I kind of don't really care about the rules. the artwork they had in Little Place, I'm like, I'm really digging these horrible little like servo skulls and cherubim assistant dudes, and I'm like, you're doing a really good job of evoking like that horrible, decrepit, grimdark stuff that I kind of don't feel the minis really have now.
I think that's definitely because if you look at, like, we've seen so many now, like board game translations. When they do minis for a board game, we see illustrations directly translated to miniatures, and sculptors really trying to do, get the poses and get the feel of it so much into the miniature sculpts. And I don't think there's any cooperation, any connection between the illustrators that they're using and the sculptors that they're using. I don't think there's a heck of a lot of here, make it look like this.
Right.
Yeah, they seem to be riffing on their own thing.
Apart from the Leviathan, like 10th edition rules, I haven't really looked at modern GW stuff. But like, I wonder how you would. There was like a looseness and a griminess and just like a dirtiness to like the artwork, and how do you do that in a model apart from being like joining the Turn Up 28 Discord server and just like using spackle or fluid to just like slap it on your models, which I think I would die if I did that to GW stuff. Like the money you have to pay for a GW model, I'm not going to dirty that thing up, right? I'm not going to buy it, but I'm also not going to dirty it up, right? Anyway.
Yes.
Anyway, back to the main point.
Blanche is also responsible for his kind of iconic illustration of the Emperor of Mankind interned on the gold throne. That was that's the look.
Dude. It's just like a corpse, right?
Yeah. So so he was appointed the company's art director after Games Workshop was acquired by Brian Ansell, and he worked from there. And so after they broke away from and came up with their own identity, their own games, he was responsible for that art direction. And he's also an avid miniature painter. So so you probably heard the term Blanchitsu.
Yep.
So that style, that kind of that school of painting. So stark contrast between light and dark, limited color palettes, and just crud, the griminess.
So apart from the crud, it's like Baroque style art.
Yes,
right?
Right. So that's cool, and so that inspired a lot of. There's a Kill Team spinoff called Acolyte that uses the Blanchitsu style on Necropolis 28, and the whole Inquisitor 28, the whole Inq 28 movement is basically inspired, trying and doing kind of what you're saying, is trying to make the miniatures from Games Workshop look like the art, the early art from Games Workshop, inspired by his art direction. So he will exist. His influence will exist forever in that game, and people will want to carry it further than even the company is willing to go. So I really hope, I don't think they're going to do it, but it would be really great because Black Library produces some nice high quality books. If they did an art retrospective of everything, that would be so beautiful.
Only imagine how much that book would cost.
Oh, it would be worth it. It'd be worth it.
No one. We're going to fundamentally disagree on that, right? Like, a John Blanche art book produced by anybody else would be worth the price.
Right.
John Blanche art book produced by Games Workshop?
Yeah, but
fuck no.
They're premium. They're premium like quality books. They're very expensive. Actually, they're not that expensive in Japanese yen. But don't tell Games Workshop. They the quality is amazing. So if they did that, if they executed like that as a tribute, to the the lifelong art director of this company, it would be pretty cool. But so we'll see if there's going to be any recognition or not. Who knows? Because they're not even. It's amazing that people even know his name, because Games Workshop famously doesn't credit artists. There's not
now or in the past.
Well, probably a little bit more so in the past. You knew because it was such a small company. It started out so small, but now you have no idea. There's no artist recognition for anything in any of those books.
Well,
So it's just like Games Workshop Storyforge or whatever. It's just like all the writers are just part of the Storyforge. So I really hope that
it's not
changes.
Art we're writing, it's content.
Yes, that's right. That's right. It is content.
Turn on the content fire hose.
Drop in content here. Right. So So hopefully there's still there'll be some activity in social media or something, so we know that he's okay. But I hope that his health doesn't diminish and kind of take him out of the creative scene. But but he will continue. His influence will be felt, I think, in the hobby forever. All right, so I already have about 70 pounds, probably a little bit closer, 75 pounds of Gloomhaven and Frosthaven.
Why, in the name of God, do you need to measure the contents of a board game in weight?
Well, I'm a little I'm body shaming Gloomhaven, I admit, but
You'll notice I've not mentioned how many pounds of unpainted plastic miniatures I have, right? But still, it's pounds should not be something you measure a game in. Anyway.
But it's just, shipping to Japan, you're very conscious of the pounds, because they put it right on the box, like, 17 kilos, 17 point something kilos.
Spent,
yeah, so it's expensive to get here. So that's the frustration is if I don't get it through the crowdfunding, I'm not going to get it because the shipping, just straight shipping from online retailers is going to double the price. Yeah, it's not a thing. But anyhow, Gloomhaven's creator is talking about the changes in the new edition. So Isaac Childres is discussing how they're moving forward with a second edition of Gloomhaven. So it's been about 6 years since the original release. So Cephalofair has officially announced that they're doing a second edition. So Frosthaven just got into people's hands not that long ago. Had some changes. There's some, more like refinements and mechanics and things that they added to the rules to make Frosthaven unique. And that inspired them to kind of go back through the original game because, Isaac, the creator, said, he will admit it's a popular game, but he'll admit it's not perfect. There's a lot, he's still, the community is very active and kind of like, trying to address the things that didn't work out, power balancing and certain like overpowered classes and things that make, the game balance could be improved. So that's what they're doing. They're going to go back through with graphic design and artwork, card iconography, kind of do what they did with Frosthaven. Campaign sheets are going to get updated, quality of life improvements, and just overall more well-written campaigns because there's a lot of basically narrative in the game itself. So they want to, and also I guess now they have this new version. There may be a little bit of like a little bit of contradicting information between the old
there might
world.
be like mechanical stuff, right?
There's
keyword templating or stuff like that. Yeah.
So the 95 scenarios that they have in the current game are going to be boosted to 100. So now there'll be 100 scenarios to play in basic Gloomhaven. So they're rebalancing the classes. There's things like the Night Shroud they mentioned needed a lot of fixing. It was incredibly overpowered because you can just run all over the board. You're invisible most of the time and just, kill everything. So kind of like a rogue type class. And so they said basically giving attention to all of the different classes and fixing the detail, making it more challenging but kind of less frustrating. So they want to entice, of course, both new players and people that have already played it. So they're saying that this is going to be enough of a revision that even if you played through the entire game, which takes forever because it's like an extended RPG campaign, you can do it again and it'll be different enough. Yeah, there'll be because you'll feel the balance changes and you'll feel enough that you're not playing through the exact same thing again. So yeah, that's interesting. So there is a smaller board game called Jaws of the Lion set in the same world that is the creator says a better entry point to the world to see if you like it and you'd want to get more involved in a serious campaign. And I don't think that's not going to get a revision, but it is still going to exist as the kind of entryway to it.
Never really considered having a separate smaller board game as a tester to see if someone liked the setting.
I think it's more of that because it's a little bit like what's the I can't think of the D&D thing, yeah. But anyhow, like politics in a city. So I think Jaws of the Lion is a little bit, Waterdeep. It's like balancing the factions of a city. So I think it's more like that to introduce the city because that's what Gloomhaven has as well. Is there's factions that you kind of ally yourself with and get mechanical benefits from. So it's kind of just to introduce that thing, and so Gloomhaven introducing that city and what a terrible place it is, but how you can make your way. So they're trying. It's going to be a remaster and kind of nerfing the overpowered classes. But this is coming. This announcement comes after they've already announced that they're going to do miniatures for everything in the game and an official tabletop RPG. So this may be part of the process in the rewriting because now they're going through and trying to connect the dots and kind of flesh out some of the details in the world. And so maybe as they're doing that, they're realizing, maybe the old game doesn't quite, it could be better.
Or there's kind of like continuity issues, right?
Yeah, right. So that's amazing. It's a little too soon. I mean, I've not gotten anywhere near. We've not gotten Gloomhaven on the table. I played it digitally. I played it.
I was looking for the shrink wrap box around here.
I played it digitally, but no, haven't gotten it on the table. But it's well worth playing. It's a diceless, very interesting system, and feels very unique. What's that?
I wonder if the RPG would be diceless then.
I think so. Yeah, they've already said that they're gonna stick with their card system because they're trying to use as many components from the game, the tiles, the miniatures, and the cards, as possible.
Well, in respect, because I was expecting a 5e clone.
Yes, right. Yeah. It's Gloomhaven 5e.
Yeah.
Right. No, so I think that's very respectable, and I think sticking with their original setting and everything, they want to keep it very distinct. So I like that. I mean, that may mean that there's going to be, fewer people that will try it because it's just going to be people that know the board game that might be interested. But I respect that. Yeah, they're sticking with what they've done. So yeah, hopefully they face no lawsuits. Speaking of lawsuits,
that was a seamless segue.
Wasn't that beautiful? I don't know. All right, so Disney Lorcana is being threatened by Upper Deck, the card publisher, with a lawsuit, and this comes at a very inopportune time because we're right on the verge of the release, and the kind of collectible card game industry is saying they're bracing for the effect of Disney Arcana on the industry because they said it's going to suck all the air out of the room because it's going to have this huge secondary resale market because it's Disney characters, it's Ravensburger, so it's going to be nice quality, good rules, and a nice execution. So they're expecting this to rival, and it's very family friendly. Okay. So they're expecting it to rival Magic very much, like compete.
Really?
Yeah, compete.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're expecting, and so all of these things, like we were talking about, like the Fantasy Flight, Star Wars games, they're just going to get pushed down the list, and no one's selling anything. So the pending launch of Disney Lorcana is going to be interrupted by this new lawsuit filed in California court. So the co-designer Ryan Miller previously created a similar game with nearly identical mechanics to Disney Lorcana while under contract with Upper Deck.
Okay.
So what Upper Deck is accusing them of, so first they're asking a judge for an injunction, stop this release, we don't want this game coming out until this is resolved. They're saying that Miller designed a game called Rush of Ikorr, and where you take on the roles of gods, but basically the mechanics, so substitute gods with Mickey Mouse and Goofy.
Who's basically a god. I mean, come on.
He is. Yep. He's one of the Elder gods, I believe. So they're saying that same or similar mechanics exist in both games, and because this was done in a work for hire or under contract with Upper Deck, that you can't just, because obviously an original IP is not going to do nearly as well as a Disney branded IP. Yeah, so him taking this away,
did Rush of Ikorr get released?
I don't know. I don't think so.
So basically, Upper Deck is saying.
Now it's impossible. Yeah, it would be impossible to.
Oh, maybe
release it after.
Okay. So Upper Deck is saying Disney Lorcana plays almost exactly like this other game, Rush of Ikorr, whom the designer created for us while under contract. So therefore, like, this is kind of ours.
Yeah, right.
Right? Or there's okay. Well, I'm curious. I know nothing about these two games. I can't compare them. Like, as someone who attempts to try and design games, I do know that, like, I have, like, lots of game ideas, and I, like, get to the point where they're almost kind of finished, and then I have, like, a new idea, and it becomes an iteration of it. Right. Here's this new thing. And so only based on that, and the fact you can't copyright game mechanics, you can only kind of copyright, like, the wording around it. I'm curious to see what happens with this lawsuit.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the other big claim that they're making is that Miller, as the lead designer of this game, had direct access to Upper Deck's confidential how do you say that? Proprietary. Thank you. Proprietary. I looked at that word. Information, including without limitation, the draft rules, concepts, components, design, marketing strategies, and plans for implementation. And he maintained that access after being terminated from Upper Deck.
Okay.
So that's what they're kind of like leaning on.
That's a bit more substantial.
Yeah, and also claiming, and these are all just claims in this lawsuit, that Ravensburger induced and intended for Miller to breach his obligations to Upper Deck by kind of like saying, we've got the Disney license, why don't you make this game for us, and it's going to be amazingly successful.
Interesting.
So, yeah, calling them nearly identical trading card games.
Well, I guess then that makes it more substantial. Like, okay, these are nearly identical. You had access to everything after you left the company.
Right. And you created a very
similar. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. I'm not saying either way, but I do want to see what happens with this.
Yeah. So the text, I think it's a Polygon article, that the text from the complaint is completely listed in there. That I think there's like a PDF, so you can take a look at what they're actually saying. So they're demanding punitive damages. Boy, pronunciation, restitution, and injunctive relief. Enjoining Ravensburger from publicly releasing the game. So basically, I think it's going to, if they know, everyone suspects this game is going to be insanely successful. Right. So they may just have to bite the bullet and say, how much do you want to let us release this game? So that might be what it's going to be, is an out-of-court settlement of a large undisclosed amount. And then Upper Deck says, no wrongdoing. Thank you very much.
Not like Disney doesn't have the money to do it.
Right. But it's Ravensburger though, so they're just licensing. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what's going on.
Oh,
so,
right.
Yeah,
right. This is against Ravensburger, not Disney.
Yeah, so the designer and so it's just the license. So a quote from the Upper Deck president: "We invested significant time and resources into the development of a new and novel trading card game, and so our current leadership values the importance of protecting intellectual property." Of course. And so we encourage competition in the industry, but we also strongly believe in playing by the rules. And so they're claiming there was some malfeasance. Yes.
Malfeasance, nice word.
I pronounced that right too. So this is going to be the Disney game, of course, is going to be much more family friendly. It was originally announced in August of 2022. They've released some initial cards that are probably worth hundreds of dollars now at the D23 fan convention in last September. And of course, instantly a burst of speculation on the secondary market. These cards are going to be insane. Like the ones that are only from attending events or special foil cards or whatever, they're going to be insanely expensive for collectors. Yeah,
they're not going to. But and why? Yeah, they're not gonna, because why would they, right? Because, oh man, thinking about Pokemon cards, right, and how much people pay. Anyway, yeah, the secondary market encourages people to buy first-hand stuff, right? Right. I was gonna say
an overbuy.
Yeah. They should, overbuy, exactly. I can only imagine how kind of like regular people who want to play the game. Parent goes to the toy store, sold out, gone. Right. Only because prospectors have bought them all up.
That's true. It's going to be that they're making a family-friendly game that kids can play, and kids can't touch the.
Kids won't be able to play it. Yeah,
kids can't touch the cards. So, that's a real shame. And I hopefully they're going to produce enough. Hopefully lowering the value in the secondary market, because there's just a glut of these cards, but also letting kids get their hands on them.
I don't think they're going to. But what they would do is the Fantasy Flight living card game rule kind of roll out, like with Netrunner, where it's like, here's your pack. They're all identical, right?
Yeah,
right. There's no random packs, just these packs. They're all the same, and everyone kind of gets
But if you stayed at a certain Disney hotel and they had a special card on your pillow, and it just would be wonderful. Yeah.
First off, I wouldn't be caught dead in a Disney hotel, right?
Yeah. So I suspect
all my money goes for paying for other expensive stuff.
There's going to be a lot of that.
I'm sure there is.
A lot of that marketing. So there was a public demo of Lorcana recently at the UK Games Expo 2023. Ooh. So people have gotten their first look at it and are just getting so excited for this release.
And is that why people had to apologize?
Yeah, right. Yes, right. And that's exactly why they apologize. Yeah. Right. So speaking of the UK Games Expo 2023, they did apologize. Not for Disney Lorcana's demo, which they probably should have, but they rejected RPGs over queer content.
Oh, I have seen this, right?
Yes. So Avery Alder's Dream Askew was blocked from appearing for themes of sexuality and orientation, and J Dragon's Sleepaway reportordly had its text changed, described, did not mention queer content. Yes. So blocked from appearing because of the themes of sexuality and queerness. So WH author tweeted about applying at the Games Expo to run a session of Dream Askew and Sleepaway. And ran into this trouble. So it was turned down, and they cited the queer content and themes specifically as the reason of refusal. So a quote from Arthur said, in the email I got in regards to Dream Askew's rejection, one of the organizers wrote, "We don't have game misspelling error with themes of sexuality or orientation in them at Expo." So the game is in the marketing and everything, is clearly described as queer strife amid the collapse for Dream Askew. And So it's not like anything was being hidden. It was very straightforward. Sleepaway did get successfully accepted, but of course they had their the event description modified because of references to the queerness were removed.
It's funny. I backed Dream Apart. It's Dream Askew, Dream Apart, because it's actually like a 2-part book. There are 2 games inside it, and they use the same mechanics. It's token based, and it's funny because it does say basically like queer commune after the apocalypse. It's not even Monster Hearts level of sexuality, right?
Yeah,
like the only thing I could say about it from reading through it is your list of pronouns for your character is something like, it's not even like, it's like they're, I don't want to say weird, they're pretty much non-traditional roles. It's just like, it's like Dagger Daddy, Ice. They don't even say Ice Queen. It's just like Ice. Like you're looking at these and you're like, these are wild, and like that's literally all it is, except for the very clear call out of, yep, this is a queer community after the collapse. Like that's it. Like there's no, I'm pretty there's no like sex moves the way there are in Monster Hearts. So it's just like,
so it wasn't content. Yeah, and so and they also mentioned Sleepaway is a GM-less belonging outside belonging system game,
which is the system that used in Dream Apart, Dream Askew. It's called Belonging Outside Belonging. The idea is you're this kind of this group of outsiders who all belong together. So that's why it's belonging outside belonging.
Nice,
tokenless stuff. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So, a horror game of belonging. The publisher, Possum Creek, describes it as a horror game of belonging. Outside belonging about a group of summer camp counselors protecting their queer youth from a monstrous cryptid, which I guess is a lindworm in this case. Yes.
Ooh.
So so it's so Arthur also says so I'm pretty sure I described the game as queer horror RPG on summer camp shenanigans and exploration of identity, exploration of identity, but the word queer was removed in the final published event. Yeah. So and this follows on. So the organizers are blaming a very paranoid, volunteer.
Sure.
And hearkening back to the thing that we talked about on this cast, their 2019 problem where they ran a session of Tales from the Loop that started out with people were sodomized.
All
and,
kinds of problems.
Like on the back of a van. Children, no less. So, they're having trouble with running these events. Now they don't know which side to err on, like allowing, like being too permissive and just letting people run all kinds of
I think okay, like UK Games Expo, they're allowed to set their own rules, right? People are allowed to say fuck your rules, we're not coming, right? Like that's the flip side of setting your own rules, right? But like I think the larger, and I'm kind of broadening it out here, the larger problem is people seeing sexuality, especially of non-cishet boring people, as inherently sexual, right? Like right. Where it's not, right? You're conflating the fact that there are going to be queer characters in this game as there being sex in this game, right? Like, and too many people do that.
Yeah.
That's not the case, right?
And especially, like you're saying, if there are no mechanics or intimacy or anything in the game, like what? Yeah, why?
Okay, I don't want to say there's no mechanics or intimacy, only because I don't remember.
Okay.
But I remember reading through it, and like Monster Hearts is definitely like everyone has a sex move. Like you're gonna fucking fuck in this game, right? Unless you're like the vampire, right? Because then fucking like put you on a short of a tick, right? Or you're gonna pull in D&D and not engage with sizable chunks of the mechanics, in which case, why the fuck are you playing this game, right? Play something else. Play something like Kids on Brooms, right? Which I'm not saying is a bad game, I'm just saying, anyway.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so reading Belonging Outside Belonging, like nothing jumped out at me as going, whoa, here's the sex moves like in Monster Hearts. That's not me saying there aren't sections on intimacy or stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, so the Game Expo directors released a statement on Twitter. So 2 errors were made in the run-up to this year's UK Games Expo. Firstly, an RPG scenario was rejected due to subject or theme of sexual orientation. And on the first matter, we reviewed the email chain between the RPG manager and the individual submitting. and found that we in the game and have found that it is true. We do not accept scenarios containing sexual content due to past experiences of this type, which causes distress and upset to players. However, this does not extend to sexual orientation.
Yep, there you go.
Right. So our policy to censor based on sexual. It is not our policy to censor based on sexual orientation, and we failed the GM by rejecting the game.
You did.
On the second matter, this was an error in administration where two people each thought the other had dealt with the matter, and so the training was not set. Oh, that's right. So that's something that they do as well. If you're going to run a game, you have to attend this online kind of training session to go over how they want things to be done at the event.
Okay.
And there was scheduling miscommunication. So Arthur, the GM in this case, was not able to attend that session. It wasn't scheduled for it. So didn't know any of these extra rules, so that may have contributed to why they were misrepresenting the sessions. So come on, UK Games Expo, you can do it. I don't know. It's weird. So do you think, because there's always effort made to make tabletop RPGs that are kid friendly or good starting places for kids or whatever, but an actual event, gaming event where it's all tabletop role playing, there's not a great way to make it completely kid friendly. And like you're talking about, you don't even know if you want to introduce D&D to your kid just because of where it comes
boy howdy, the fucking pushback I got on
that's right. So it's but there's kind of implied, and it's always been like that, even like going to comic book conventions. There's a lot of nudity, so it's not like completely kid friendly, and so you're just going to have to accept you're taking your kid into a more mature environment, and you have to kind of pay attention and control what they're interacting
I think
with.
Okay, there's a couple things here, because I'm thinking about like the local nerd sanctuary around here, like Den Town, right? Like I used to enjoy going, and now I'm going to like pick up stuff, and I'm like, oh god, can I not like have to wade through an ocean of plastic anime titty, right? Like, all I want to do is go and buy some paints, right?
Right.
So, and I've thought about, no, I don't want to take my kid through that, only because of the ridiculous amount of pretend quasi nudity, but it's similar in the fact that parents can't be completely absolved of not paying attention to what they're bringing their kids to or letting their kids experience, right? So, but on the other hand, you can't make things, I guess you could make things, would you? I don't know. I don't know if you can make things entirely kid-friendly, because unfortunately kid-friendly means so many different things to different people, right? You'd have to get to like, okay, does everyone agree this is kid-friendly? Yes. Okay, well, we're playing in rock, scissors, paper, right? Because that's the only thing we could do, right?
Yes.
So, I get it. On the one hand, like, you don't want perverts like their first GM from like 2019, right?
Right.
So there's got to be like, whoa, like safety tools. Everyone's got to feel safe, but then, like I said, kind of conflating sexual orientation with sexual contact and situations is part of the problem, and then also going, okay, let's overreact and just say no, and you just, I don't know, that was very incoherent, but I don't I don't think you're going to get one.
I think it's difficult because you'll never be able to satisfy all parents as be able to protecting them from something. So just have a big warning. This is up to you. Get your hand ready to cover your kid's eyes or ears if you're going to be dealing with a lot of mature content, and it's not it. Yeah. So I don't know, but like you're talking about, also safety tools and things are important to have in these sessions, because it doesn't have to necessarily be kids that are going to be made uncomfortable by.
That's the thing. Like anybody uncomfortable, and then then tossing into the mix like bad faith actors, right? Intentionally trying to like screw over, like on both sides. Can't believe I used that phrase, right? Like bad faith actors on like the rule side saying, oh, this isn't strict enough, blah blah blah, right? And then bad faith actors on the other side going, oh, well, you didn't say I can't do this, right? So, I don't.
Next, you're going to be saying they're not sending their best. I'm waiting for you.
All right.
All right. But so we'll see. So apart from that demo of Disney Lorcana, UK Games Expo needs to keep apologizing. It's just going to be hard. You're not going to be able to make people happy because there's a lot of different kinds of expectations. But it's a tricky thing now, because I think everything is getting Yeah, a little bit harder to navigate, and yeah, they're just not not making it easy because it's weird.
I think it's okay. My perspective, it's getting harder to navigate because of like the political climate. I don't mean that. I mean like. Well, okay, I don't know about the UK. Well, UK is going to especially in like the US, right? Like the political push. Like I saw someone saying that it was like something like Transformers Con in Orlando.
Oh no!
And I forgot exactly what the character was, but like someone was tweeting out saying, "Okay, what the fuck," right? And the convention said you specifically cannot cosplay as this character due to the laws of Florida. Because the character is canonically trans, and due to like the drag ban in Florida, they're like, no, like we just you.
Wow.
And it wasn't even their fault. I think the person was kind of yelling at them a little bit unfairly. I'm like, it's not the con's fault, right?
Right.
They just got to say, due to federal laws,
right.
you can't cosplay as this character, which is fucking ridiculous.
Right? But I think a federal law against cosplay, though, does...
And the thing is, like, it was a fucking robot. Like, it's a robot. Robots have no goddamn gender, right? Like, what? Right? So, anyway, people were kind of talking about that. Then where people were complaining is kind of feeling blindsided and not being able to refund a ticket or stuff like this.
Yeah.
Right? Then it kind of becomes, okay.
Right.
Because my first reaction was, dude, what do you want the convention to do? This is federal law, right? Sorry, they're just covering their ass.
Yeah.
But when it gets back to, and we're not going to refund any tickets, then it's kind of like, oh, now we can yell at you, right?
Right. Yeah, you feel bad enough for spending thousands of dollars building a robot costume, and then
I gotta imagine robot costumes are not as expensive as furry costumes. But anyway, yeah.
Well, never mind. Yeah.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, there's different different functions.
Yep.
All right. Anyhow, so that'll do it. So at least UK Games Expo keeps us talking about it because they always fuck up.
Years,
right. Something happens. So keep going, UK. That's it for this week.
Yeah.
So where can people find you?
On Twitter until that site goes down by Apartheid Clyde. Hivemind. I'm also on Instagram, which is also Hivemind, HYVEMYND, where I'm posting pictures of kind of Mordheimy people made from the Wargame Atlantic Conquistadors. So
nice.
Yeah. Cool.
Excellent.
How about you?
So I'm still doing my single panel gag cartoons, so Abuse Cartoons on Twitch and YouTube and social media. You can find Abuse Cartoons. And then also if you want to read the archive for the past 20 years. So gocomics.com/domestic abuse. And if you'd like to support what we're doing here with the weekly, please consider becoming a patron, a weekling, as a matter of fact.
Oh, apparently I do mean state law.
Oh, yes. Oh, state law. That's right. Yeah. So a weekling will let you tell us what you'd like to see on the weekly. And that is available at patreon.com/upturntable.
I missed my cue about this.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
And also, we've got actual plays, reviews, unboxings, all kinds of good stuff on our channel. So Upturned Table on YouTube and Twitch, and also upturntable.com.
We got playthroughs too.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yes, right. Yeah, we'll have, and we should have a Monster Hunter World unboxing one of these days. Yeah, we got a lot of boxes still sitting here.
A lot of boxes. Yeah.
All right. So that'll do it for this week.
Yep.
See you next week.
Later, mortals.
Goodbye. All right. All right. Yeah, so thanks for that correction, Miguel. Yeah, it was the Florida state law. Yeah, of course, there's no federal law against drag or whatever they were using. Florida, amazing. Yeah, so no notification, Matt. Yeah, so that may explain the quiet chat. Right. Yeah. So that's really crazy though. It's going to be so strange because there are companies that have that run these conventions, and so it's like a center company or like a central company that sponsors all these. But if they're going to have to, learn different state laws and like have, I guess it's always been a little bit like that because kind of community standards are different in different areas, so they do have to be careful. But I still remember San Diego Comic-Con. I can't remember, maybe like late 90s, the Nipplegate they had. So they literally went around with Post-it notes, and all of the fantasy art that had bare breasts, they put little Post-it notes over nipples. So because there was complaints from the parents that they can't even walk around the show without their kids seeing bare breasts. Fantasy illustrations of bare breasts. But damn. Yeah. So federal law. Who knows what that covers? Yeah, it's really sad. I hope that Games Workshop would take this opportunity. I mean, they're releasing their 10th edition of a game, and they're not making a big deal about it. Other bigger than usual. So it's weird they're not taking advantage of some of these like big numbers. But having the art director, since the 70s, basically, or I guess 80s. Retiring, it seems like there should be some sort of tribute. I'd love a retrospective book, like all of the nice reproductions of all the paintings without the graphics on them, without the titles and stuff on them, of all of his cover art for 40K editions, and all of the most iconic, like the Emperor on the throne and all this painting. Yeah, he's quite old and probably much happier rather not supervising other GW artists. Yeah, I'm sure the day-to-day, hopefully he was just working like as a contractor from his studio and wasn't actually going into the offices. Who knows though? You never know. Nice. Oh yeah, hoping that he would do some stuff for the Finding Fantasy. Yeah, the thing that I read said it may be health reasons, so yeah, maybe his production will stop for a bit. Oh, that sucks. Oh yeah, sorry, Miguel. Yeah, so something weird is going on. It just seems like I should check myself to see if I got notified. Yeah, I wonder what's going on. Yeah, notifications are not working quite the same. So yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys. Yeah, we're an hour late too. That makes it even more confusing. So Miguel says, I do question the con's stated reasoning. I read part of Florida law that forbids all kinds of queer or not adult shows when kids are present. Yeah, that's the thing that I think comic book conventions, tabletop gaming and stuff, I mean, it's got enough adult content that you can't call it completely family friendly. So they're always going to be running into that. And especially, to cosplay like Vampirella and stuff, cosplay at Comic-Cons, especially because a lot of those models that they basically hire to do cosplay are swimsuit models and stuff. So they're going to be wearing very little and walking around promoting stuff. So it's so funny. Transformers now are you can't go to a Transformer con without running into state law. That's crazy. Yeah, right, Matt. Yeah, all those iconic White Dwarf covers. Yeah, I would love to see a nice retrospective. I'm sure there's probably been, I don't know though, the most fantasy artists like have somebody had done some collections, but that does completely depend on what the situation is with the rights to that art. So if he doesn't own the originals, they didn't let him have rights to it if it's all under Games Workshop. Yeah. So the least they could do, if that's the case, if he doesn't own any of that original art and it's not going to enter galleries, and it's not going to show up after his estate, after he passes away, then if Games Workshop owns it, they have to at least release something to be able to enjoy his work, not from eBay purchases, crumpled eBay purchases. Wow. Yeah, and definitely the parents in those situations, the parents aren't blameless. It's up to them. That's the thing. America is really good at doing that. Is a parents being just, oh my God, I can't believe what was here at this show. It's like, you should have known. How many warnings do they have to, no running around the swimming pool. This coffee is very hot. How many warnings do they have to put to get people to know what they're in for? It's very strange. Oh, Matt saying alchemy almost exploded on me. Oh no! Trying to put fake fog of war on the map. Oh no! Oh, alchemy, come on! I hope it's going to be okay. If that's going to be our platform of choice, they better get the bugs worked out. Miguel said so they should be held responsible for where the kids go. Yeah, the parents should. Yeah, and cannot have another video game scenario where moms bought restricted games and then complained about the sex of the violence. Right. Yes. Yeah. Right. They should just say, you're going to run into some stuff that your kids may not be okay for your kids. It's up to you to to navigate and get them to avoid it. Yeah, it's tricky for a lot of these pop culture shows because they do, because there are so many adults that are deeply involved in fandoms that make the content of stuff all that much more difficult. Yeah, it's tricky. So we'll see. But it's funny, and it's especially funny during, and I think that's why it's like newsworthy, why it's showing up during Pride Month that the UK Games Expo is censoring queer content. Perfect. Yeah, so everybody's apologizing. Yeah. Oh yeah, Miguel. I mentioned this before we started, so I don't think you were on yet. But what have you heard anything? So the subreddit, the BattleTech subreddit, is now not officially sponsored by, or I guess supported or contributed to by Catalyst Labs, and they made an official, like r/official BattleTech because of the controversy over the queer fiction anthology or whatever that was removed from the subreddit. So yeah, I mentioned that before we started recording, just to talk about with Chris. But it's funny. Oh, and that's right. I didn't go through. I should have gone through the topics from last week too, to see if there was any other input. I'm trying to remember what if there was something that stood out. Yeah. Oh, the drow. Yeah, drow thing would have been an interesting discussion. Yes. So we'll see. Oh yeah, and Matt. Yeah, we got a nice comment, or an interesting comment about on the last week's stream, talking about the Danish and Norwegian translations, and that they did get translations in the 80s of the Drakar og Demoner. So they may be using a lot of the same terminology, or kind of maybe sticking to, and I guess depending on if Free League has access to those original translations, then they can kind of match things up. But the commenter did say that there was a lot of kind of coining of original terminology that the original published Adventurespiel used when they were creating that game, and maybe to differentiate it as much as possible from TSR's product at that time. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Nice. Yes, I'm asking Miguel to get banned forever by YouTube. So Miguel's saying that the subreddit mods dropped the ball with the ban, but I'm also seeing a lot of bad faith actors that want to queer BattleTech. Yeah, none of it has been reborn from the ashes. Yeah, that's interesting, and that's something. It's probably going to keep coming up, so I'm sure Chris and I will eventually hit on it. But Chris talking about how that queer content is assumed by the straight, by the normie, or not normies, by the straight straight community. I don't know, that's by straight people to inherently be sexual, but in a lot of cases, like Miguel is saying, there are bad actors that are over sexualizing things that and like it's almost like an excuse. If it's called queer, then it can be more sexualized. So yeah, there's an interesting kind of on both sides. I think there's people that are as Chris said, that's not me, that's Chris's quote, but yeah, bad actors on both sides kind of fucking with people on that. Hey, Hungriest Clown, how's it going? Nice. Somebody gets saying, BattleTech has always been about eternal war and stompy robots. Yeah, that was interesting that they were trying to, the mods on the subreddit were trying to fall back on. Well, we strictly say in our rules for this subreddit that we don't include anything pre 1986 or whatever in the the timeline of that world, and then saying that there was no such thing as queerness. I don't know. I think they were just specifically saying Pride Month. But yeah, romance, sexuality. Yeah, that's true. And if they're doing that in the fiction, it's funny that that isn't why people go to BattleTech, and it never will be. I love the romance when they're not piloting the mechs. I love the romantic storylines. Yes, all robots must be stompy. Yeah. So there is like, and there is, maybe except Star Wars. I think Star Wars is one of the few settings that has that problem where they're trying to completely sanitize it. But just about every setting has sexuality. Like I was surprised. What was the one of the Black Library novels that I was reading, the Horus Heresy era stuff? There was a really good, very realistic and very well handled, kind of sexual content that obviously made, and that's the thing. I think that's the thing that separates. Although that's not true if you look at things like Twilight and stuff that had a lot of weird sexual content, but that's the thing that separates fantasy and science fiction for adults from all the YA garbage that's out there, because that's always about bullying and adolescence or whatever. And so without adults being adults, then you're just left with kind of YA nonsense. Yeah, no, but it's a good point, Hungriest Clone. But it's always I think it's always going to be tricky, because there are people that are just trying to, like Miguel was saying, queer, certain fandoms or certain settings to make it more how they want it, but it's not, and you can't restrict that, but at the same time, you're not going to completely hand over, someone is going to gatekeep to a certain extent to keep it how they want to play it. So Captain Rose and Mick Warrior Joanna having a vendetta because Joanna told Rose that she doesn't do women is an okay plot point for me because it justifies why they're fighting. Ah, okay, interesting. It's not mutually exclusive. Them robots got a cockpit for a reason. That's true, Matt. And Matt apologizes. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, but dedicating 50% of the storyline to sex, romance, and all that. Yeah. I mean, if it's clearly a genre, if you're clearly going to say, if it's going to be like BattleTech romance or, whatever, if you're going to clearly say that here's an anthology of, basically fan writing, slash fiction or fan fiction of what we want to see romantically happen, then that's fine. But yeah, to if it is something that's just like added in the middle of a regular anthology, that's just focused only on romance, I don't know. Yeah, that's a little odd, a little off genre. Yeah, it's a Hallmark novel. Yeah, right. It's all that. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny what people want to see. Yeah, right. Yeah, for both. Yeah, that's true. Because queer people don't want straight, hetero romance stuff. Yeah, shoved down their throats either. Yes, that's true. And Hungriest Clone is saying, some of the best novels in any setting I've read are the ones that are background stories that don't focus on the setting's main topics. Oh, interesting. Yeah, because kind of the supporting, like Warhammer novels about the Inquisitors doing their work in the background are super popular. Right. That's not what the huge war conflict is. Yeah, no, that's good. No, that's true. That's interesting when writers feel that, make the setting, feel more complete and more complicated when they're filling out things that are actually happening behind the scenes. Yeah, and I like, that's the thing that I like about in a lot of the Horus Heresy novels is when they go down to the level of the Imperial soldier, then you see that stark contrast between what a Space Marine is and what just an Imperial recruit is, what a human is versus a superhuman. And I think that does make the setting much more interesting when you understand that scale, when every main character isn't a Space Marine. I'm forgetting their terminology. They're superhuman technology. They're genetically modified. But so it's gonna keep coming up because they're probably, and also the internet too. I think people's tastes and everything have been changed a lot by what they have access to on the internet. There's so much fan fiction and things that it's actually like how people are writing now, and how screenplays for movies and TV shows are written now is heavily influenced by this whole generation of like Tumblr fan fiction writers and stuff. It's I being old and curmudgeon-y, I can say it definitely has dropped the quality of characterization and writing because people are just so fascinated with these little weird, the kind of weird little obsessive aspects of relationships and people's specialness and stuff in stories that has kind of ruined characterization and good storytelling. But that's just me. So Miguel is saying, but in my case, if I want Star Wars related stuff, I don't buy a Star Trek novel. So same with BattleTech. Oh, Rebel Moon. Okay. So sorry. Same with BattleTech. If my main character is gay, but the story is about his unit kicking clanners, then I'm happy. There we go. Oh, yes. And Matt's talking Rebel Moon. Yeah, I saw that. Was it Vanity Fair or whatever? Whoever had the photos. It's looking good. I mean, I'm getting excited, and the more I hear about the the origin of it, and also the two separate edits that there's going to be. So I guess it's being produced for Netflix, and there's going to be like a general release version, but then there's going to be like this Snyder cut version of it that will have that's going to be harder. That's going to be not as family friendly, supposedly. So people that are into it and like that setting, they're going to be able to see a little bit more gritty version. Yeah, a shorter, less adult version, and a longer, more adult version. Yeah, I think that's cool. I was excited to see that because and that'll really differentiate it from probably his original Star Wars idea, because his Star Wars idea had to be very sanitized and probably had to have the corners rounded off, and so it'll be cool to see space opera, a little more ugly space opera stuff. So Hungriest Clone, to be fair, a lot of people also like stuff they can read without really putting much thought into it either. Yeah, that's a good point. You just want like junk food, like they have in Japan. They call them light novels. Basically, it's people didn't want to draw the manga, so they just wrote a story. And a lot of the times they're serialized and everything. So yeah, just kind of junk food stuff. Which romance novels and those sorts of things. And I would say adults reading young adult fiction are not reading it for a challenging literary experience. They're reading it because you can just blow through them, and it's it keeps you entertained. It keeps you turning pages. So that's why all those old pulp novels sold so well. Yes, exactly. Yeah, Hungriest Clone. That's true. Yes, and there's even good writing in those. All right, and Miguel says, on the other hand, I'd drop a book in a second if instead of kicking Clanner butt, he goes to Solaris to have romantic cruises with his latest lover. Nice. Oh yeah, right. Overlord. That's right. Was a light novel at first. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's interesting. But I think people's expectations, have changed a lot because of the different kind of media they can consume. I think there's a lot. We've had access to a lot of less less polished writing, and people do have an appetite for that now because they yeah. But I have a feeling it just had a negative negative effect on the talent pool and the kind of expectations of of current writers. Interesting. So very good, very good. Yeah, so Matt, Will, and I are going to be having our first character creation and our first session of Knave in a built world, in an original kind of what's the world built. So we had a little world building session. Yes, I got the yes, Matt, I did get the Dragonbane confirmation. So that must mean they're going out. They're going to the hub. That's great. I can't wait to see somebody already. Oh, the guy that works for Free League. He's got his own YouTube channel, and he did an unboxing. So he got his, because he works for Free League, he got his copy early. So he did an unboxing, so I got to see the components. Very similar to what Riot Minds did for Rune Master. So Ruin Master. Okay, a lot of criticism for when I unboxed Ruin Master. I kept saying Rune. I kept blending it, and so it's Ruin Master, and I said it poorly the entire time. But the standees and everything, like the presentation and the contents of that box, is very similar to what. So I think that's what Riot Minds was doing, is their kind of iteration on a box set, a Drakar Ultimonor boxed set, and so of course Dragonbane would be similar, but the standees and everything reminded me very much of it. So that also means I can probably use some of those, because I was expecting never to be able to use the Rune Master standees, so I can probably use those for Dragonbane as well. But so I saw the little quick unboxing. There's a lot of stuff in there. It looks like a really complete. I'm a little sad that there's no like hardcover books, for this, because I mean, after Forbidden Lands, I was so spoiled opening that box and seeing those faux leather, gold foil. Those were so good. I want every Free League game to have that inside, every fantasy game. So just having the soft cover rule books and adventures and stuff is it's a box set, so of course, but after Forbidden Lands I got spoiled. I really liked the high production value of that, and just that how they went with the off-white pages, to give it more of a retro feel, and even the layout and design of the books themselves lent themselves so well to being really nice objects in that world. And they probably want to differentiate between their brands, so we're not getting a hardcover book with a deluxe version or whatever. And so similar to what they did for Twilight 2000, that sort of presentation. But maps and standees and everything all in the box, and they always do that. I love that they are thoughtful enough to do that with all of their things that have a box starter set or whatever, is they're sizing the GM screen to always be able to fit in that box, because there's some companies that haven't quite figured that out, that you'd probably want to keep stuff together as easily as possible. So they always do that, everything, Blade Runner, everything. It's always like this: if the screen is extra, it's not included in that set, it still fits in the box. So that's a very thoughtful design. I like that. So so that's coming up soon. Physical. That'll be great to get a physical copy of that. I can't wait to see what the adventures and things look like that were produced for the campaign. Good stuff. But we got some Naven to do tomorrow. So we'll do the first session tomorrow. So it won't be live streamed, I don't think yet. I don't think we're kind of able to do that yet. So I don't think it'll be live streamed, but we will live stream. So then later that night, Chris and I are going to meet up and do our next Oathmark. So we'll have our next Oathmark battle, and that will be live streamed if I can get the camera back in perfect position like I had before. And I think I need to make a quick river as well. But yeah, Oathmark will. So this will be the tiebreaker, because right now it's 1-1. Ugh, I don't know. I got to get these goblins doing something. So yeah, so lots of fun on Saturday. Oh, I noticed on the comments are turning on the Chronopia Kickstarter. That's frustrating. There's people in the comments are saying, you got to report this campaign because they're not shipping soon enough. It's like, you got to be patient. They're promising to be they're going to try. They're aiming for before Christmas of this year, which puts them exactly a year delay. But come on, I mean, that's not bad, especially you know, the what limitations and probably what complications happened in 2021 and 2022. So yeah, that was sad to see. As I thought the community and the supporters were a little bit more positive for Chronopia. Yeah, I can't wait. If Warzone Eternal has any trouble fulfilling, I can't wait to see that Facebook group and community on Kickstarter turn, because they're just waiting. Yeah, we'll see. A Kickstarter delay? What? Yeah, Miguel, how dare they? Yeah. I mean, you've got to, because yeah, there was definitely, well, like what was it, 4 years Siege of the Citadel, because I didn't separate the shipments. I just said ship everything at once. So Siege of the Citadel was 4 years delayed. Yeah, so with patience, patience and crowdfunding go good together. Oh yeah, Dragon. Yeah, that's right. Okay, Matt. Yeah, I got to get that before the physical copies hit. I definitely have to get part 2 done. I'm thinking it's looking like I probably can do it. Part 2 can finish things up, and not be too long. And $1 short. 4 years late and $1 short. Yeah, just and some disappointing miniatures short. Poor Siege of the Citadel. Yeah, that sucks though that they finally got it out and then just completely dropped support for it and just started to liquidate their overstock on the Modifius web store. That really sucks. But yeah, it happens. All right. But yeah, I think that will do it for this week. Well, thanks for everybody for hanging in there, and good to see you, Hungriest Clone. Good to see you. Oh, I made a knave hack with more magic and rules. Oh, for magic items and alchemy. Oh, excellent. Yeah, I guess the Matt was saying the first second edition PDF hasn't shipped yet, or whatever the whatever it was not sent out yet. The in development PDF. Nice. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, please drop a link if that works, and I think Matt can approve it. Matt's a mod on YouTube, so yeah, that's great if you want to share. Nice. Oh, very cool. Yeah, so Hungriest Clone, good to see you, and good to see both you guys, Matt and Miguel, in the chat. Yeah, we'll have to see if notifications keep working. So yeah, I'll be streaming tomorrow, so we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that works tomorrow. If you guys. It's going to be 5, like it's going to be pretty late, like maybe 5 or 6 Japan time. So yeah, everyone in North America will probably be well asleep by the time we get streaming. But maybe Europe will see some Oathmark. All right, very good. Oh, cool. Yeah, the current U.S. sky as a backdrop. Oh man, yeah, that is brutal. Yeah, but yeah, after living in Los Angeles long enough with those fires, there was one. So I was working in the valley, in the San Fernando Valley, but in a tower that was pretty tall, and one of the wildfires that kind of crested the mountains, that whatever those mountains are, the San Fernando mountains, I don't know, that ring the valley. It was like a creepy Mordor thing, because you had this fire line. You saw it like the sky was just like blotted out. The sun was just this hazy little smear, and there was this red line like all around the edge of the mountains surrounding us. It was very Mordor looking for a while there. That's crazy. Very cool. Yeah. So yeah, Hunker's Clone. If you drop a link in the chat, we'll definitely approve it. That's very cool. Yeah. So we're gonna give Knave a shot, as much as we have of it, right? Of Knave a shot, and do some quick character creation. Oh, and I'll try to do tonight, Matt. I'll try to put some color on those sketches if those work. For the characters, so we'll have some icons, and hopefully that'll be easy to do. I hope you figured out how to do tokens in in Alchemy, because I haven't had time to look at it again. But yeah, we'll have little character heads at least. Cool. All right. So yeah, so we'll be back again next week. So thanks everyone for joining us on the stream, and very cool. So lots of gaming tomorrow. So yeah, see you next time. So oh good, tokens are easy. Excellent. Okay. Good night, Matt, and see you tomorrow. Okay, take care everyone, and see you again next week. Goodbye.